Hello, Minnesota Timberwolves fans. Welcome into Talkin' T-Wolves. I am your host, Garrett Gilbertson, and I love the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you like the Minnesota Timberwolves, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about the team this year. We just wrapped up the third game of the season against the New Orleans Pelicans, and I'm not going to lie to you, it was a hard game to watch. The Timberwolves lost 107-98 to the Pelicans. They never held the lead in the game, and it was tough to watch. Why? Because we couldn't make a basket. That's right, we shot terribly, specifically some of our key players. Let's start with the ones who weren't shooting very well. D'Angelo Russell. Now, I know he made the big shot in the last game against New Orleans to ice the win, and he has made big shots in the past. But it seems like to me these last three games, he just hasn't had his stroke that we're used to seeing. He can stop and pop a shot from anywhere on the court usually. But tonight specifically, he couldn't buy a basket. It was hard to watch. So many times, mid-range twos, he couldn't drop them in. It was hard to watch, and the times when we needed him the most, he just couldn't make a basket. Let's talk about Malik Beasley. That guy has been cold throughout the preseason and the first three games of the regular season. But yeah, he hasn't been making shots. Tonight, the Timberwolves got down early, and Josh Okogie started the game, but he's not an offensive player. He's a defensive player, and he was good. But Chris Finch recognized he needed to score baskets to get back in the game, specifically the third and the fourth quarter. Josh Okogie only played 11 minutes tonight, while Beasley played 20, and he still didn't make many shots. He walked away with 5 points on the night. This just isn't a performance we can handle from Malik Beasley, and only added on to the poor shooting of the entire team minus Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. Now, let's move to some bright spots on the night. Karl Anthony Towns, he came out with a defensive intensity that I loved seeing. He came out ready to play this game. He played some great defense. He had 110% energy level, but he was not getting any foul calls. He was getting manhandled by Jonas Valanciunas. Jonas Valanciunas. I can't say that dang guy's name. Either way, he wasn't getting calls. My buddy Mike Baltz has been saying for a number of years, Karl doesn't get calls, and he's exactly right. He couldn't get a foul call. He was frustrated from the beginning of the game. He got a technical in the first quarter. And then he made a great defensive play taking a charge in midcourt. And they called him on blocking. It was ridiculous. Chris Finch got teed up just because of that ridiculous call. I'll credit Karl Anthony Towns for keeping a level head to the point where he didn't get another technical, because there were plenty of times throughout the rest of the game that he could have complained to the refs that this guy is a 7-footer getting banged under the rim, and he's not getting the calls that other players get, like a LeBron, like many other superstar players. And you know what? Karl is a superstar player, but he's not getting the calls that others do, and it's frustrating to watch. Besides that, he played with great energy basically all game. At one point in the third quarter, it looked like Nas was going to come into the game for him, and he waved Nas off, and they showed a little shot of the bench, and Nas was smiling, and I think Chris Finch probably was smiling too. I didn't catch him, but that just shows me that he was into the game. He was excited about the energy that was happening at that point in the third quarter. And the reason that energy in the third quarter was so exciting was because of Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards was cold for the whole first half. He didn't score his first points until 2 minutes left in the second quarter. He had 0 points almost the entire first half. He also could not buy a basket. But in the third quarter, he came alive. It was amazing. It was like somebody lit a match under him and that fire was bursting through him to score. He played really great. That whole third quarter, he ended up with 21 points. It was just in that quarter. It was amazing. 8 of 13 shooting. Chris Finch opted to rest him to start the fourth quarter, and I think that was a mistake. Not to rest him, but to keep him on the bench so early in the fourth quarter when we still needed to make up ground. Anthony Edwards was on fire. He couldn't be stopped to end that third quarter, and it was fun to watch. I would have wished Chris Finch would have extended his play and just let him continue to see how hot he could get. He's young enough, he's athletic enough, and he was just waiting to throw down a huge dunk. The fourth quarter, he kind of cooled off, and I think it's because he sat too long. We needed to score points, and in the fourth quarter, Anthony just wasn't getting the looks, and I don't know if it's because he was covered, if Carl and D'Angelo Russell were trying to get things going between the two of them, but Anthony just never really got a shot to regain that momentum he generated in the third quarter. So Anthony Edwards played a great game. I wish he would have started a little bit faster, but hey, if you'd gotten a full first half from Anthony Edwards, he could have had a 40-point game. Who knows? But that, in my opinion, is the difference between the win and the loss on the night. On top of that, let's talk about my favorite player on the Wolves, Jaden Mcdaniels. Jaden McDaniels played great tonight on the defense. And he's always really been known for defensive play. But he scored the first 3 points of the game and didn't score again the rest of the game. He has some of the best hands, the best instincts on defense that I've seen. He plays unbelievably and really guards anybody on the court. And he's not afraid to get in there and go for the block shot, go for the deflection. He has the instincts to make a difference. But I'd love to see him develop more of an offensive game when we needed him. He had some wide open looks, couldn't drain the baskets there in the second half. And when you have him starting at the power forward, I don't think he's a liability starting at the 4, but he needs to be more of an offensive power that we just don't have at the power forward other than him. Jared Vanderbilt hardly got into the game, and he's not going to be an offensive player. Josh Okogie started at the 3 tonight, and he's not a 4. And Naz Reid, you can't bring him off the bench to play the 4 with Karl Anthony Towns because you don't have another backup center. So really it comes down to Jaden McDaniels just stepping up his offensive game, giving us that, really developing a more well-rounded offensive game to complement his defensive game, because he is a talent, and I'm telling you, the kid is special, and he's one of my favorite Wolves on the team from last year and this year. From what I've seen, his defensive play is just phenomenal. The first lineup off of the first lineup for the bench to come off was a kind of a cool combination of Beverly and Beasley, as well, along with Ant, Cat, and Jaden McDaniels. And it was good to see. I thought that would be very interesting. You took Okogie out, you replaced him with Beasley, you took D'Angelo Russell out, who was struggling offensively, and brought in Beverly. And they did play pretty well, but still, you couldn't get any offense from Anthony Edwards, and that's really what hurt the Wolves in the first half. And then at the end of the game, Chris Finch decided to go with his a fourth quarter lineup of D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, and he threw in Beasley instead of Okogie for good reason. Beasley's going to be more of that offensive player that you need in the game when you're trailing by 10 to 12 points, which they did for most of the fourth quarter. But Beasley couldn't make a shot. And what I'd like to see in a night where Beasley's just not there is to get a player like Jalen Noel in, or bring in some other shooter that you can see if they can get hot. Because Jalen has proven last year that he can be a streaky shooter just like Beasley can. I think that it's so early in the season that Chris Finch really wants Beasley to to really step up, regain his shot that he's been missing ever since preseason. But at the end of the game, when he's only scored 3 points in the game, why put him out there in the fourth quarter? Let somebody else see if they can get hot, because he obviously couldn't. Besides that, I'm happy with the Wolves and their defensive energy that they brought to this game. They really have shown in the last 3 games that they are committed to the defense, that they have some playmakers on the defense, players like Naz Reid, Taurean Prince. They were fun to watch off the bench and really did challenge. Josh Okogie and Patrick Beverley are great defensive energy guys. Beverley, to that point, Beverley is the type of energy guy that the Wolves need. He has been really just a phenomenal spark plug as far as energy goes. Maybe not offensively, but defensively, he keeps that team focused on getting defensive stops. And tonight, one of the biggest signs was in the second quarter. For whatever reason, and maybe he'll say this in a press conference or talk about it later, but for whatever reason, Jonas Valanciunas was at the free throw line, and Beasley stood right on the free throw line where he needs to be to shoot. And when Valanciunas kind of gave him a hip check or pushed him out of the way, Beverly took offense to that quite a bit, gave him a little shove, started jawing at him, showed him that he's not going to back down, and I think that kind of sparked the energy for the rest of the Wolves on the bench to know that this guy has their back, that this guy is going to play 110% for the team, and he's not going to let the biggest guy on the team push him around. That was cool to watch. I don't really know what he was thinking, why he was standing on the free throw line like that, but it was pretty fun to watch, and it goes to speak to his character of, hey, I'm going to show the biggest guy on the court, like, I'm not afraid of you, and none of my teammates are either, and that was really cool to see. In reality, the Wolves just didn't have their full offensive game tonight, and it was unfortunate, but they'll get it back next week and the next game against Milwaukee Bucks. They play Milwaukee Wednesday at 7 o'clock in Milwaukee, and that's really going to be the test for them to see if they can play well against the reigning champions, but a really good competitive ball game. And the Wolves are for real, I think, this year, but Wednesday's going to be a big test to see if they can hang with the defending champions. I think they can, but they got to get their offensive game together. D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley are really hurting this team when they're not shooting very well, because they are the offensive spark plugs on the team. You're always going to get 20-plus points from Cat. You're always going to get it from Anthony Edwards. But D'Angelo Russell's got to be there, and he has been in the first 2 games, but tonight he was really cold. T-Wolves fans, there will be brighter days. The next game is going to be really hard, but we got to support them. If you like the videos, give me a like, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try and make these videos every game if I can, but I really enjoy talking Timberwolves. If you'd like to be part of the show, give me an email, doublegproductions@gmail.com, and I'll see if I can get you on the show. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment and let me know what you think of the Wolves so far. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go Wolves!